Welcome, welcome, everyone. I am so excited to have Dr. Melissa Petersen here today to do what I know might be a little controversial of a presentation, but nevertheless a conversation that I think is long overdue for at least me in my world. So before I hand the mic over to Melissa, I wanted just to share a little bit more about who she is and what she does. So, Dr. Melissa Grill Petersen is a true pioneer in the field of longevity and a sought after expert in human flourishing. Oh, I love that. As the founder of the Human Longevity Institute, she and her team deliver the leading integrative longevity and health optimization education and certification programs for providers ready to lead the future of health. I was just sharing with Melissa that there's been at least 3 times in the last 6 months since we've gotten to know each other and chatted on and off that I went to go sign up for one of her certification programs for weight loss. And then I've stopped myself because I don't necessarily have the time nor capacity to take on something else at this moment. But the nerd in me, just because of the content that you put out, it's so interesting to me. And I know that, especially given the state that we are in, like the state of, I'm going to say unhealth, the state of crisis, I would say, the health and mental health crisis and the aging crisis that we are in, at least in North America. I can't obviously speak for the rest of the world, but certainly in North America. I think that those of you watching this are going to get a lot out of this, because there is a lot of research. There is a lot that we can do, whether you are, a functional medicine practitioner or a nurse or a doctor or even a health coach, or even someone who is a life coach, or even like a trauma coach. There's so much that we can pull from this in order to support our clients without necessarily having all the science background, without necessarily having all of sort of that medicalized training, because, optimizing for longevity is something that everybody should do, unless you don't want to. Unless you want to be sort of a fragile, sickly person in your later years. I don't think that that's the case, but you never know. And so I'm really looking forward to this conversation, especially because, weight loss and optimizing the body is something that I have spent half of my working career in. So I will hand the mic over to you, Melissa. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Lori. I'm really grateful to be here with your entire community. And before I kind of bring up slides and we go into some of the science that we're going to talk about today, you brought up a couple of really important points. We are at a unique tipping point in human history. It's the first time it is unprecedented, because it actually all goes together. We are living longer, but not better. And this directly impacts the rate and pace of disease, chronic disease, all-cause mortality. Mm-hmm. So what we know is that by 2030, which is just 6 years down the road from now, there's going to be more 65-year-olds across the planet than 18-year-olds. 1 in every 5 people will be 65 or older. And unfortunately, people think that longevity is a conversation for the 50-plus crowd, but it's not, because longevity and the rate and pace of how we age and how well we live actually begins the moment we are conceived, because it's all a metabolic process. And the reason that weight loss, metabolic health is so critical, it is actually a driver. We all know this. Not only is it a driver of all of the big 5, the chronic diseases out there, but it is the accelerator, foot on the gas, going 100 plus miles per hour at the rate and pace of aging. And it's why we can look and one person can be 50 and we're like, oh, they look so good for their age. They're like, I would guess you're 30 or 35. And another person that's 50 be like, oh, they're not doing so well. Like I would have thought they were like in their later 60s, right? So what's that differentiator? It's not about chronological age. So there's this phenomena, lifespan is how many years we live versus health span, how many years we live healthy, free from sickness and disease. And so if we can begin to appreciate the needle movers from the top-down approach of what's really driving our system, our physiology, then not only can we look better and feel better and live better, but we can do all of it longer starting today. So it really all just kind of connect the dots together. So today we're going to talk about metabolic health. I personally don't like to use the word weight loss because it's a psychological play, right? Like we're casting a spell over our words. When we lose something, what do we want to do? We want to go find it. But of course, everybody as an industry knows weight loss. So I like to shift it to weight release. So we are going to talk about metabolism, what it is, how it works, and really why we're missing the mark and the opportunities as clinicians, practitioners, coaches, doctors, everybody in between. So at the Human Longevity Institute, we have a wide range of practitioners that come into our programs. And so we really teach you how to stack. So we have a proven system of how we certify in all of our programs how to pair lifestyle with molecules, with technologies to meet people where they're at on this health trajectory, whether they're in sick care all the way up to optimization. How do we meet them where they're at and actually build personalized programs and pathways to healing, health, and thriving throughout the course of their life. So I'm excited. And I want to give one more thing for all the people watching right now that might be going like, oh, do I really want to listen to her talk about Ozempic and GLP-1s? And I'm going to tell you, you guys want to listen to this because there's so much misinformation. Whether you like it or not, you're working with clients that are on these and it's not going away. So I'm going to share some insider secrets with you today. I'm going to tell you what you need to know as coaches and clinicians, like where's the dark side, where's the bright side, because it's both, it's polarities, but there are good things that are coming out of this. And we have to know where that tipping point is to really meet our clients, again, where they're at and what you can do to fill in the gaps and give them the most comprehensive support so that they are having not just losing weight, but they're actually improving their metabolic health, which will help them live better, longer, with less sickness, less disease, and you're going to help them increase their health span. So you're doing all these things all packed into one. So sound good?
Amazing.
Okay, great. I am going to bring up slides. Lori, if you would, I don't know if as we go through this,
I'm monitoring the chat. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, monitor the chat, and then we're going to do our best to have some time for Q&A. So here we
I'm
go.
also just, everybody, I'm just going to shut my video off, but I'm still here monitoring the chat. Yeah, so share your screen, and then I'll add it to the stage. And yeah. Amazing. Okay.
Are we good?
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm. Great. A few of these I'm going to just blow by because we've already chatted. So really, we're talking about these molecules and metabolism. And I'm going to talk to you not just about GLP-1s. I'm going to let you know about some things that are already in your wheelhouse that you like. I do want to let you guys know, here's my disclosure. This information that I'm going to share with you today, I am not your doctor. So it is not meant to diagnose or treat any health conditions, any metabolic health conditions. Everything I'm sharing today is for educational purposes only. What you choose to do with it and how you choose to employ it is completely up to you. But if you are considering using it for your own health, please consult with your own doctor and clinician. So we're not here to sell. We're here to educate. I will inform. I will share. We do have some special things for the Wellness Hub community. So, like there'll be things we'll share with you as we go. But again, I'm just here to offer value to all of you. And it's my pleasure. So thank you for having me. You guys heard a little bit about me. I've been in this space for a minute. I actually started dancing when I was 2 years old. I was in the gym by the time I was in 6th grade. Professional dancer on TV, all the things. I was a nutritionist and a personal trainer by the time I was 20. I was running fitness programs and a trainer for fitness companies for a very, very long time. I got my doctorate in chiropractic medicine at the young age of 24, and I really haven't stopped since. I've added degree after degree, certification after certification, and many, 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 many moons down the road, here I sit about 27 years later. And you do the math on my chronological age. And I am the founder of the Human Longevity Institute, written some books, done some TED Talks. But I really love connecting with amazing humans just like you. And I would say my sweet spot is really, helping to train the experts and empower the individuals so that we know where we kind of all overlap together, because we're in it together. We all want the same end results. So let's go hand in hand and make great things happen. So thank you guys. Listen, I was a little late in getting this to Laurie, but if you guys want the slides, there's going to be some research, there's going to be some studies, things like that. Scan that QR code right now. I will show it to you one more time before this is over, but scan it real quick so you can grab the slide deck and you'll be able to kind of follow along if you want to take notes, any of the things. There are clickable links in here and all the stuff, so let's go. All right, what we're going to cover. Today, we're going to help to explain what metabolism is on a cellular level, macro and micronutrients needed for metabolic health, why calories in and calories out absolutely does not work for weight loss. It's an old paradigm. We're going to crush that today. We're going to review the signs of metabolic dysfunction and what it means for you as a clinician, how to regulate your metabolism by actually pairing lifestyle and molecules, and the leading GLP-1s and peptide molecules of metabolic health. So let's go. You guys know the weight loss industry it generates annually about $3.8 trillion. Now, this is actually the same amount of money that it costs every year to manage sick care. So our healthcare crisis that we say, oh my gosh, it's going to bankrupt America, it's $3.8 trillion that we spend every year to manage sick care. But the profits in weight loss are the exact same amount. Isn't that super interesting? What we know right now is that about 73.6% of the US population is overweight or obese. And there's huge costs with this, right? We know what this is doing. Like I said, this is already directly correlated with all-cause mortality, our big chronic diseases. And what we know is that people that are already overweight, they're obviously spending a lot more. They're spending a lot more just to manage their sickness, let alone their overall, vitality, aliveness, how they're feeling in their bodies, just their quality of life. And so there's a real economic cost on the cost to our gross national product, the cost to our economy just by our population being overweight is 20% of the gross national product. There's also massive amounts of money, which again is why we're going to talk about all this, because the GLP-1 craze has created such an influx of a money grab. Again, so there's the light and the dark side. And so what do we need to know about all this and keeping ourselves and our patients safe? So you guys know it. You can look around. You can go outside and see that, literally 3 out of every 4 people are overweight or obese. Doesn't take rocket science to know that we've got an issue going on here. And 71% of our entire population over the age of 18 has one or more chronic diseases. So obesity and metabolic dysregulation, again, directly correlates to chronic disease as a whole. High blood pressure, all-cause mortality, type 2 diabetes, gallbladder, stroke, liver, fatty liver disease, all these things, hormonal issues. Lori and I were talking before this started, and she's like, I just want to kind of deep dive on all the hormonal aspects, the perimenopause, the menopause, what's happening with metabolic dysregulation when we are overweight and obese, what that is doing to our hormonal health is off the charts. Now, we teach a lot about that in our metabolic health and weight loss certification course. We're not going to cover that too much today. We're going to stay really kind of in this lifestyle molecule pocket. But the point of this is that if you guys are out there running your businesses and trying to figure out what's my specialty, what's my niche, where do I double down, where do I create my expertise, where's my passion and my people and my profits, where do they meet that my business can actually make a difference through multiple lenses of the conversation, it's right here. It's metabolic health. We have not cracked this code. We just haven't. Otherwise, it wouldn't be getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And we've seen this trajectory rising at an accelerated pace since 1999. So what is actually metabolism? Because if it's been around, a lot of people have it, there's a lot of money to be made in it. Why can't we fix it? Right? Like, what are we missing? Well, unfortunately, it is not just calories in, calories out. It's not just about a molecule. It is a multimodal process that is occurring. And I sit here and I am going to make a bold claim that we are all missing the mark because we're overcomplicating it. And we have to really appreciate, how do we optimize the body? We have to understand, what is metabolism? Where does it originate? And if we can go to the source, can we improve the outcomes? So metabolism refers to the sum total of all chemical reactions that occur in the body within each cell, listen to this, to produce energy and maintain life. Okay. This energy fuels bodily functions, allows the body to meet the demands placed upon it externally and internally for energy on a daily basis. Now, here's what I want you to know. Listen to this. Metabolism, it's what occurs in each cell to produce energy to maintain life. Now, I said to Laurie, everybody thinks longevity isn't about aging. It's not. And we start to age the moment we are conceived. What is this aging process? It's a metabolic process of making energy, using energy, building up, tearing down. We have to make, right? We have to signal that DNA. We have to replicate, repair, regenerate, rejuvenate, and make tissues, organs, cells. Stay on top of damages and repairs all the time throughout life. And so all of this takes energy. And if it all is made in the cell, and we are comprised of more than 37 trillion cells, and each cell, this is so key, gang, is a unit of life. It needs energy. And how do we get it? From macro and micronutrients, light and water. Like, we're going to break that down a little bit more in depth, but like macro and micronutrients, light and water. So the real question is, let me come back for a moment. Fundamentally, we think, oh, we have to cut calories. We're not even getting what we need to give the cell what it needs to meet the demands of life. If we cannot keep up with the basic energy requirements, and I'm going to break this down a little bit more here as we go over the next few slides, so stay with me. But the point I want you to really consider is, wait a minute, like, not giving the body what it needs isn't going to help it be more efficient and effective and keep up and stay strong, right? And stay healthy and vital. No, we got to beg from Peter to pay Paul. Somebody's not going to get what they need to get the job done, and things are going to start to break down over time. Depending on how deficient the system is, how dysfunctional the system is, will determine that rate and pace of metabolic disruption. Right? And what does that mean? I've struggled with weight loss for years and years and years. Doesn't matter what I do, how I work out, how I eat, I can't get the weight off, right? There's so many things that are just like, this metabolism is not budging. And oftentimes people have depleted. They're so overloaded, too many demands on the system, physical, mental, emotional, chemical, environmental, toxic burdens, all the things. And so their systems are just jammed. They can't get the right stuff in. They can't get the bad stuff out, and they're stuck and they're inflamed and they're sick and they're tired and they're breaking down and they're aging fast, and they're costing the government money. They're costing us money. They're costing themselves quality of life. They're not happy. Nobody's happy. So what do? We got to start to understand how we reverse engineer. So we need to appreciate what the cell needs. And like I said, we're going to dive into that. And we have to appreciate what signals this metabolic process. So something that really has been talked about more and more and more, coming to the forefront of the conversation over the past year, and it's kind of exploding everywhere now, is really the science, the conversation around circadian rhythms and circadian chronobiology. This is the biggest controller of metabolism. Every single cell rather, has a clock in it. Every single cell. So this process of light, dark, 24-hour sleep-wake cycle is not just about getting a good night's sleep, which directly influences your metabolic rate, by the way. However, this 24-hour light, dark cycle, these cues literally are the way that the outer world and the inner world are in direct communication, so that every part of the body knows where it's at in space and time so it can function on time. There's hundreds and thousands of functions that have to occur. How do you think those happen? The circadian clock is the main regulator of metabolism. Excuse me. It has a biodirectional effect of circadian rhythms on metabolic processes and energy balance. Energy metabolism is regulated by hormones, enzymes, transport systems, and circadian rhythms are what modulate this expression, secretion, or activation. So I've literally spent hours just on this one picture alone. I want you guys to see something. Those of you who are already coaching and doing a lot in weight loss, and you're on the intermittent fasting train, if you've got people that have metabolic dysfunction, quit having them do intermittent fasting. Whether you like me or you hate me for saying that, here is why. There's science behind it. When we are optimized, we can intermittent fast and we can get great benefits from it. Whenever you're going to do something with your clients, please let it be more than just a fad, and always ask for what reason. And I'm going to challenge you all, invite you all to dig deeper into the research. But what's really happening is this light dark cycle, our hormones naturally rise and fall at different times throughout this 24-hour light dark cycle. And hormones are just chemical messengers, and they are activating. They're saying, hey, more of this, less of this, turn on, turn off. They're very, very important. And that light and dark helps to communicate with these signaling hormone molecules. Now, when we are metabolically dysregulated, eating less and eating fewer times throughout the day might work for the first 30 days, and then you're going to see that it doesn't really work anymore. And they're kind of right back to where they started. Why is that? Well, any stress is a new stress to the body. If we do something, the body will always respond short term, and then it's going to quickly stabilize. But we've disrupted metabolic function even more. And so now it's got to try to stabilize from an even more deficient state. But we are further disrupting hormones. And so when we've been dysregulated, we want to get back in sync with normal hormone functioning, because if we're working with the body, with it, not against it, then it's going to help us become more efficient faster. We are going to use energy more efficiently. So then we actually can reduce calories over time. But if we're dysregulated, we're not doing anything efficiently. So here's what I want you to see. Ghrelin, grr, I'm hungry, the hormone that signals appetite. It signals at about 8 a.m., 1 p.m., and 6 p.m. So it's over here at 8, 1, and 6. Simple principles of circadian rhythms is that you eat with the sun, you fast with the dark. You rise with the light, you rest with the dark. You move with the light, you relax with the dark. Now, most metabolically active time is the morning. Amazing studies. The person can eat a meal at breakfast, the exact same meal. So 8 a.m. and later in the day, 6 p.m., exact same meal. They're going to have greater glucose dysregulation at 6 p.m. Okay. Greater insulin dysregulation at 6 p.m. They are going to be more metabolically optimized, more efficient with glucose regulation, with insulin uptake, utilization at that 8 a.m. meal. So morning is when we are most metabolically active. So you've probably heard the saying, eat like a king. What is it? King, prince, and pauper throughout the day. So eat your larger meal in the morning, a moderate meal at lunch, and very light at dinner. And you want to make sure that when the lights are out, there's no food coming into that body. This is a quick way. I don't even care about Ozempic right now. And even if somebody's on Ozempic, like if they're not following these principles, they're still dysregulating their metabolism, which means whatever molecule they're on, whether it's natural or if it's a pharmaceutical, when they come off of it, if they're still disrupted, the weight's going to come back. So there are things you guys get to learn to appreciate. What do we do when there's dysregulation? So is the cell getting what it needs? So I said it needs oxygen. Weeks without, right? Food and water, minutes without air. Oxygen is the main ingredient for cellular respiration of how we make energy. We have many people that their breathing is completely dysregulated. Why do you think that everywhere you turn, especially in the wellness community, you're hearing more and more about the importance of breath work, but not just breath work to slow and reduce our stress and lower our heart rate, but to actually increase oxygen saturation. Like we need, and so that's a whole other class. Again, we don't have time to go into it today, but we need proper oxygenation in through the nose, out through the nose. When we do too much mouth breathing, we dump way too much CO2 way too fast. It disrupts at the cellular level our ability to basically kind of grab and bring in that oxygen. So we don't get enough in, and we're dumping too much CO2 out, and we dysregulate. And so we start to have issues. We breathe shorter, shallower, faster, and this could be one of the main reasons that there's metabolic dysfunction. Water, you're 75% water. Water is needed in this Krebs cycle. Your carbohydrates, you need them. So I love carnivore. Any fad diet is a fad diet. Like, as I tell you, I work with genetics all the time. As human beings, we are omnivores. So we do need complex carbohydrates. We do need proteins. They are the building blocks of life. You must have amino acids. You must. And if you're doing any kind of plant-based, then you've got to make sure you are subsidizing and you're getting all of your essential aminos, that you are getting your proteins in, because if not, you're breaking your body down. You're going to be more susceptible to chronic disease. You're not going to be able to heal. You're not going to be able to repair. You're certainly not going to be able to lose weight and keep it off for the long haul. And you also need fats. You must have essential fats. Okay. So again, another conversation for another time. Your Bs, you need all your B vitamins. You need magnesium, iron, CoQ10, phosphorus, copper, and zinc. These are the essentials just to make energy. How many people are not getting nutrient dense food in? Nutrient dense. So often people are over consuming, but it's low quality food. Okay. I got to keep going here. So energy utilization is not just going to the gym, right? It's everything. It refers to all activity, movement, posture, load to the system. We teach a lot in our courses about a type of movement called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's everything. So like right now, I'm sitting here, just sitting. We're sedentary. So why do you think people are now doing like desk bike and walking treadmills at their desk? And they're doing like, there's little heel raises, things you can do when you're just seated to keep movement in the body. It's getting up to do the dishes, taking the dogs for a walk. It's like all the light stuff. But the more we can stand versus sit, right? You don't have to worry about all of a sudden creating new intense workouts. No, because that's a demand on the system. And if they don't have the right energy to meet the demands, even working out can crash their system and actually dysregulate their metabolism if they're really dysregulated. So it's understanding what's really going on, what's happening at a cellular level. So can we start by just working with timing of what we eat, of when we eat, even more so than what? Can we begin to notice our opportunities to move, not exercise, but move throughout life, and appreciate that just your brain alone is going to consume about 20% of the body's energy every single day, just to think these thoughts, right? And then there's chemical, environmental demands that the body has to go through to try to handle and keep up with. So fundamentally, are we getting what we really need? On average, the body needs at least 1,200 calories just at rest. Okay, so if your people are pretty sedentary and they're only eating 1,200 calories, that's one thing. But if you've got highly active and they are trying to burn it, they're the ones, I don't understand, I'm doing all the things and I just can't lose the weight. They're probably eating 1,200 calorie or 1,000 calorie a day diet, and they're in the gym, for hours at a time. They're doing all the stuff and it's not moving because they're actually starving themselves in a way that's a stress to the body. It's a stress. So when your body perceives a threat to the very survival, its number one job is to keep you alive. So it is going to work with what it's got. Okay. It's not going to speed up. It's going to hold on, because stress, that puts us in that fight or flight, which is going to dump more glucose. It's going to dump more insulin. It's going to convert it into fat. We're going to store more fat, and we're storing fat intentionally because we are in such a state of threat that fat is potential fuel. So the body is very smart, and in its innate intelligence, it's going to hold on to it because it's like, wait, and it will slow that metabolic rate down. So often when we actually get people eating a little bit more, we get them eating at 8, 1, and 6, right? We start to change what quality of nutrient dense foods and supplements are coming in. We work on their timing. We shift how they're moving. You will see massive changes in not only how they release weight, burn fat, but how they think, how they feel, how they look, as well as symptomatically how they express. It's pretty phenomenal. So should you cut calories? You don't have to do heavy calorie reduction at all. So for weight loss, various research shows a 20 to 25% reduction from our maintenance calories will initially create results. But if you stay at a low calorie diet for longer than 3 to 6 months, on average, the research shows again and again and again, if you go too low for too long, then the body will absolutely elicit what's called that rebound fat gain. That's the people that have lost the weight and it always comes back. Okay. So it's how do we start to work with these metabolic signalers? Because there's more going on than just calories in, calories out. We are overfed, but we're undernourished. We're not getting those nutrient dense foods in. We're overstimulated and underrested. We have too much dysregulation with our light dark cycle. Too much light, not enough dark. We're constantly bombarded with blue lights. We're constantly under just like junk food light, right? Like crappy light all the time. Too much sitting, not enough moving, too many demands, not enough resources, not enough gas in the tank to keep up with what's coming at us in life. Too much digital connection, not enough human connection. We're overweight, we're overfed, we are overwhelmed and out of sync. We need a new approach. And it's bigger than just calories in and calories out. And so, you guys, obviously, metabolic dysfunction, you're working with clients like this because 3 out of every 4 have it: overweight or obese, elevated, imbalanced blood glucose levels, difficulty losing that weight, frequent urination, increased thirst, belly fat, fatigue, cravings, hunger, dyslipidemia, hormonal imbalance, chronic inflammation, cardiometabolic, skin issues like tags, dark patches, over oily skin, mood swings, anxiety, depression, disrupted sleep. Sounds like just about everything that we are happy to take a pill for to try to curb. And yet, could it be as easy as getting good quality nourishment in, getting good light and dark and rest in, giving our bodies what it needs to meet the demands of our life? And if we are in big dysregulation, can we help to accelerate and rebalance, get us back in balance quicker with some of the supportive molecules and tools out there in the market today? And the answer is yes, yes, and yes. So you guys know this, 75 to 90% of what impacts our health is lifestyle driven. And we all hear it: eat better, move better, sleep better. So why don't we do it? I'm sure even as the doctors and coaches out there, there have been more than a few times that you guys have not practiced what you preach. Like, it's just, it's modern life. And so let's not coulda, woulda, should ourselves. And let's realize that our clients are humans too. And they want to please themselves and you. So they'll do anything extreme for a minute, but is it really sustainable? And how do we help people actually fall in love with lifestyle? Because lifestyle, it works, but in and of itself, it takes a little bit longer. And so when we have full, busy lives and we are desperate for results, whether it's weight or, we're fatigued, whatever the situation is, that we are desperate for a result and we will do whatever it takes, then we need to know how to move the needle quicker. Yes, lifestyle works, and lifestyle is the long game. It's the foundation. Yet to make changes, it doesn't happen like that. People have families, they have careers, they have environments that they're in that may not be set up to elicit positive change. They could have, unresolved deep traumas. There can be a lot of things that go into the psyche at an unconscious level that makes lifestyle changes not just happen overnight. So let us be kind and appreciative and not judging and shameful to our clients. Let's make sure that they can take baby steps, but then we can meet them with some other tools so that they're seeing results, they're feeling results, they're motivated, and they're in it. So like I said, we have this proprietary system. Everything we teach is how do you balance and how do you stack lifestyle molecules and therapies for enhanced outcomes when you're working with your clients. So again, if you guys are already out there working in metabolic health, you know that weight loss and diet alone works and absolutely works. But here's the deal. It's the slow, steady that wins the race, right? Meaning in many studies, these have been done years over years over years, but here's the typical. In a 6 to 12 months, we're going to lose 5 to 10% of our body weight with diet and exercise. Okay. So if I weigh 200, I'm going to maybe lose 10, 20 pounds, which is great. That's phenomenal. But how many people get discouraged 6 months in and they're like, I've only lost 10 pounds. We've all worked with those people. Yes. Yes. So then we look for some natural supplements. Okay, what are some things that we can offer in? So there's a couple of needle movers. These are out there. There's tons out there. There's always some new weight loss gimmick. And then we're like saying, well, hey, natural is better than pharmaceutical. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But like alpha lipoic acid is a really big one. Berberine is a really big one. Green tea extract is a really big one because these all work with blood sugar and insulin, kind of like what a GLP-1 is doing. They don't work exactly the same, but they work in a similar manner. So if you're doing diet and exercise and you want to stack in some natural molecules, you can. And what we see there is you're going to generally add an additional 2 to 6% of body weight loss. So if I had 5%, of body weight loss, and now I added in berberine 3 times a day for a protocol. Berberine shows around the 3%. I might be able to get to 8%. Or if I was at 10% and I added another 3, I got to 13%. Okay. That's great. it's a little extra bump and it gives me a little extra. You add in some of those things I was just showing you about timing, and how to change movement, you can get them even a little further. You guys get to become really proficient at meeting people where they're at, but understand it's not just about get rid of the problem, get them back to homeostasis, because the problem always comes back, that rebound effect. We get to start to have a new conversation. This is what we teach at the Human Longevity Institute, is what happens when we actually get back into a balanced state. It's where the fun kind of begins. That's when we get to move into optimization. That's when we get to move into enhanced resilience, capacity, thriving over a lifetime. Instead of feeling like we always have to treat problems, we can actually create outcomes and solutions that last a lifetime. And it does begin with metabolic health. So what prevents us from this? What we consume, how we move, how we sleep, hormone stress, trauma support, environment, well-being, and more. I'm trying to do some of these things. I'm moving a little fast at, gang, because I need time for this right here. So weight loss and GLP-1s. Here's, you guys love them, hate them. I just showed you, if you're just doing diet and exercise, you get 5 to 10%, right? 6 months with GLP-1s only, you're going to get 10 to 15% more body weight. When you add diet and exercise to that, you get 15 to 20% of weight loss over a 6 to 12 month period. So that's really significant, especially for people that have been struggling for a really long time. If you guys have never struggled with weight loss, then, please get really curious. Listen to the hearts and the stories of these humans and what they're going through. And it's not just a straight road of calories in and calories out. So again, let us please stop shaming people for it, but also let's not demonize the things that can actually help, because guess what? A GLP-1, what is it really? Well, it's a naturally occurring hormone, believe it or not. These are what are called peptides. Peptides are simply amino acids. That's it. Yes, maybe a big pharma company is producing them, but they're naturally occurring. Naturally occurring, okay? They're released from the gut in response to ingestion of food, particularly carbohydrates. Its primary function is to regulate blood sugar levels by stimulating the release of insulin and inhibiting the release of glucagon from the pancreas. Remember, insulin helps to lower blood sugar because it gobbles it up, right? Helps to put it back in the liver, shoves it back into the muscles. GLP-1s also have other beneficial effects in the body. They slow gastric emptying. This is where people freak out. Oh my God, gastroparesis, there's paralysis. Okay, first of all, gang, it slows gastric emptying in a very small percentage of individuals. Yes, there is some gastroparesis, a paralysis. It's not moving. Things sit there. A lot of people have digestive issues that things are sitting in their gut every day. But when you stop using these things, it works. It's not like this is permanent paralysis and you've done like nerve dysfunction. So it's all in the narrative of how certain things are being spun. Realize whenever there's one blasphemous headline, look for the opposite. Same thing in politics, right? Like it's a narrative. Like how are we all being hijacked? So again, you're intelligent, amazing humans. Go a little bit further down the rabbit hole just to appreciate what's the mechanism of action. You don't have to use it, but if your clients are using it, as a coach or a clinician, it is your responsibility to understand what it's doing in the body so that you can help to support the outcomes. And like I said, fill in the gaps. So it's going to stimulate insulin release, inhibit glucagon release, slow gastric emptying, appetite suppression. And you guys know these as Ozempic, Wegovy, they're semaglutide, they're tirzepatide, and they work. But the dark side is this. Oh, and here's this, like you guys, I know we're coming short on time here, but like check this out. This is a massive study that was done. So for all of you that you're so frustrated in working with your clients that they won't change their behavior, we know 75 to 90% is lifestyle, but why won't they do the thing? Okay, check this out. This was a group of GLP-1 users, and this is changes in their monthly spending on food after starting GLP-1s. So the dark blue is spending less, the medium blue is spending about the same, and this light greenish teal is spending more. But look at the big numbers. So 31% started to spend less, right? About the same. 61% decrease in takeout, 63% decrease in dining at restaurants. Here's more. Reported cutting consumption of sodas, alcohol, and salty snacks by 50% or more. How many of you have clients that just cannot give up their wine, right? Report a decrease of smoking, cigarettes, and vapors by upwards of 40%. As because these GLP-1s work with the dopaminergic pathways in the brain, so the reward centers. So it's not just I don't feel hungry, it's I feel satiated, I feel satisfied. I don't have the same this is working across addiction. It's actually kind of crazy, and there's been a whole lot of backlash because this is the first time in history that big food and big pharma are actually in opposition, because big pharma is cutting in on big food. And like, so think about it, McDonald's, all of it, fast food, all the junk food in the grocery stores, these spending behaviors are radically changing. And so we may not appreciate that there's a good side to this, but think about it. When the masses start to spend less on crap and they start to spend more on and ask for more nutrient dense, better quality foods, that's what drives the change, right? If we keep buying it, the companies are going to keep producing it. We start to demand something different, they start to give us different options. Kind of fascinating. So here's some clinical considerations for you guys for those clients that are on GLP-1s. Muscle wasting. This is what you guys are hearing everywhere in the news. First of all, any weight loss program, GLP-1s or not, will cause muscle wasting. Absolutely will. Because most people will cut calories. They're not exchanging crappy food for nutrient dense food. And because of that, right, the body still has to get what it needs to run, to make the energy, use the energy. It's going to find a way. So it's going to pull it. It's going to break down the muscle to try to get what it needs, to get those proteins to keep building and repairing, because it has to sustain life. So yes, they lead to rapid weight loss, and this can include fat loss, but it can start to target the lean muscle because most people it drastically reduces their appetite, and they are not changing the quality of the food they're eating. So first of all, the biggest thing you guys want to do is make sure they're getting protein. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. Like, that's what they need to do before you have them strength train or anything else, even if it's just a protein shake. And there's obviously better versions out there than not, but like, that's the first essential thing. And so really they want to be getting ideally 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Okay. That's a lot, but they got to get it. Otherwise, muscle wasting is there. Yes, get them strength training. High quality protein sources are really great. So those of you that do a lot with nutrition, you can build meal plans for them. You can help them with this kind of stuff. Ozempic's not the, like, ride on it. Leverage it, work in tandem with it instead of opposition to it, and you'll actually help more people be successful with long-term metabolic health. Dehydration is a huge thing from this because they're losing their appetite and they are not drinking enough water. That's gonna cause a lot of problems in a lot of ways, just from time standpoint right now. So the rule of thumb, half of their body weight in ounces of clean filtered water daily. If they need to put fresh fruit in it, if they need to, like, limes, lemons, some basils, something like that to give it some flavor. Some say, hey, flavored water, but flavored water is still filled with crap, most of it. So unless they're doing the sparkling, but even that carbonation in the cans can have some toxins in it, but it's better than nothing. So ideally, let's find some great ways. And because of the dehydration, you may want to have them add in something like do a Redmond's hydration, like their Rise hydration or something like that. There's some really different good electrolyte mixes that you can add to your water, and they can just sip on that all day long. Okay. So super, super, super important. So meet people where they're at, take them on the journey, and become that trusted resource for them. Create that personal map for them, help them to understand what their energy demands are. Are they getting enough to keep up with it? Are you getting the right type of nutrients? We teach all of this in depth, you guys. Plus we go deep into hormones. We take a deep dive into all the hormones, deeper dive into supplements, deeper dive into peptides, many other molecules besides GLP-1s. So if you're wanting to learn more, we want to invite you to come over and check us out. And I'll tell you about that in a moment. So you want to stack, measure and stack these molecules with lifestyle methods, technologies, and of course, be there to coach and give them community support. So as we get ready for some questions, let me just give you guys kind of this final invitation. You can enroll. So right now we are doing a special 20% off for you guys if you want to go into that metabolic health and weight loss certification course, or we have a whole foundations of peptide therapy course. If you want to learn just about peptides, they can be used in everything from metabolic health and body composition to autoimmune, healing and repair, sexual health, anti-aging, cognitive health and performance. So depending on what your areas of specialty are, you might want to learn a little bit more about molecules. And of course, our main certification is all about precision longevity and health optimization. It is a longer, more in-depth coaching program, but you get so much. You get a full clinical acumen in there, how to create turnkey programs, how to do programs, memberships, all of it. So we really would love to have you guys reach out to us if you want or you need. And let's see, we teach you how to get peptides if you want, for those of you that are maybe doctors out there, because there's so many issues through the compounding pharmacies now. If you're wanting to access GLP-1s, we have peptide partners as coaches and clinicians. If you want to know how to access some of these molecules to work in tandem and support, we have those partners also. So just grab the slide deck. There it is. Grab it one more time. Grab. And so when you guys get this slide deck, okay, you can get all these codes, clickable links. You can just go over to humanlongevity.institute.com, search around if you want. Slide deck is not over there. So grab the slide deck last time. And let's wrap this all up. If you guys need anything, my team and I are here at hello@humanlongevity.institute.com. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm here for questions. It has been just such a joy and an honor.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. That was so good. And I can see here in the comments, Cynthia says, outstanding presentation. Thank you. Yes. Sam says that was so awesome. Yeah. This is, I mean, listen, we're all nerds. So this is such an amazing and such an important conversation. So you all can grab the slide deck. You can go and check out the Human Longevity Institute. The replay will be up shortly. Thank you, Melissa, so much for this conversation. And I know that it helped people, whether they're, specifically niching into weight loss or not. I think it's so critical to understand, again, even as a life coach, even as someone who works in trauma, if your client has metabolic dysfunction, it's going to be really hard for them to do the simple things you're asking them to do. It really just is. And so I think we have to take that into consideration. And given the fact that, most people have some type of metabolic dysfunction, I think we have to take that into consideration. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Melissa. And I hope you all have a fabulous day. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.